I think we're finally getting somewhere. When the money speaks up, that's when Congress starts to listen. And Maria Bartiromo just did this interview with Jesse Waters talking about tariffs and how much time Trump actually has to make this work and how scared the markets are, but also talked about passing the tax cuts permanently and finishing the deregulation push. And that includes emissions.
For the longest time. Whoa. For the longest
Yo, Percocet, Miley Percocet, Percocet, Miley Percocet, represent, gotta represent.
So what is up, guys? Welcome on back to TK's Garage. And we're going to get into this clip here with Maria Bartiromo talking about this. And here's the thing. She's a smart financial mind. She's been covering financial markets for a very long time at Fox Business, Fox News. She's a sharp girl when it comes to the markets. And I've been saying this before, and I'm going to say the same thing that the former CEO of Chrysler and Home Depot said. Like, I'm holding my stuff. I'm not selling any of my stock. I'm not selling any of my shares. And I've seen the comments like, some of us are too poor. We don't have shit. I understand. Everybody can be an investor. I don't know if you know that or not. I know people that only have like $50 in stocks. Robinhood is a thing. Public is a thing. There's so many different apps and stuff now. E-Trade, like I use, is a thing. I'm not saying I know that I'm in a privileged position. I'm not stupid. I get it, but I've earned it. I've earned the position that I'm in. All right. So I see your comments where you're like, well, what about the people? People don't even understand any. I get it. The market ain't for everybody, man. I get it. I'm just talking, I understand that my audience is wide reaching and there's people that will never invest in a stock. And I got other people that have millions of dollars that invest in stocks that watch the channel. So I cover stuff for everybody, man. All right. But without further ado, let me roll this interview so you can see it, because I think she makes a lot of good points.
He's breaking it and putting it back together. And we pray we never hear that giant sucking sound again. Host of Mornings with Maria Bartiromo, is here. So how has the Trump strategy worked out so far, Maria?
Well, people are nervous, Jesse. Good evening to you. Look, what President Trump is doing is massive. He is taking on structural issues of this economy that very few, if any, president has wanted to do or dared to do before. President Trump is doing it. But his time is limited, and the timing is of essence. Right now, you're talking about markets in a tailspin. People are nervous. They are down. People have lost money. We're talking about a $9 trillion in market value loss wiped out in about a week and a half from the peak. So markets going down is not good. Right now, what you're seeing is expectations that the first quarter will be weak. Companies are putting IPOs on hold. They're putting mergers and acquisitions on hold. President Trump, his ultimate goal is to get manufacturing back to the United States. And how else was he going to do it? We've been talking about being independent for years. Everybody knows we depend on China for prescription drugs, which is wild. Everybody knows we depend on Taiwan for advanced semiconductor chips, and we use those chips in the military. Cannot be. President Trump is taking this on. But remember, if we don't see that manufacturing fired up in America soon, we're not going to see the Republicans in charge. It takes about 3 years for a company to fire up their supply chain in America, move the supply chain from Mexico, from Vietnam, from China, whatever, into the United States. 2 to 3 years. The midterm elections are next year. So if the Republicans lose next year and then the White House is lost, then the Republicans are no longer directing policy. So timing is of the essence. This is a huge, gargantuan task. I agree. These are things that America needs. We actually need somebody with a spine of steel, a tough man to actually get companies to recognize these are not just economic issues. These are national security issues. However, timing is tight and he needs a deal. At this point, we need to hear some win from Japan, from South Korea, from the European Union. We need to see some wins here on the books because the stock market going down is not going to be helpful. It's going to be a big issue, a barrier for President Trump getting the agenda through. Now, we're on the doorstep of earnings season. The first quarter earnings reports will begin this Friday. We're not going to get a lot of guidance from corporate America. I can tell you that right now. Hopefully that's priced in because companies understand that they have no clarity. Jesse, this goes back to the interview that I did with President Trump last month. And I pushed him. We need clarity. Business needs clarity. They have to answer to shareholders and to other constituents. And they want to be able to say, we're in this, in infrastructure, we're investing that, in R&D. We're going to be seeing a growth story of this in the next 3 years. They can't do that right now because they don't have the clarity. Again, the president needs a victory. I'm hoping that we hear that in the coming days.
He's not so focused on Wall Street. He's really looking long term. And I know there's a tight window here. So what is the time frame? If you can announce that Japan papered a deal and South Korea papered and Vietnam, and you could rack up a couple announcements that would maybe rally the market a little bit, is that the kind of momentum you're looking for on Wall Street? And what time frame? Are you talking Memorial Day, 4th of July, what?
Well, look, it's the right question. And certainly the Congress becomes that much more important now. We need to hear clarity on those tax cut extensions. And we want that clarity by Friday before they go and leave for Easter recess. So the Senate, the House becomes that much more important on executing the rest of President Trump's agenda. I'm talking energy capacity, tax cut extensions, deregulation. Bring it on. The market needs that positive information. President Trump is moving as fast as he can. What does Peter Navarro call it? Trump time. And that's where we are right now. So you just said Japan is traveling here. South Korea heads are traveling here. Giorgia Meloni is coming from Italy. Of course, that is one country within the European Union, but maybe she can help negotiate a deal. So I would say in the coming couple of weeks, we need to see some victories here.
Yeah, and the victories have to be good. They can't just be, and then they fall apart like the China trade deal went. All right, Maria, thank you so much. I'm very enlightened as I possibly can be.
So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. I think she makes points. They need to get all of this done by Friday. And I'm not just talking tariffs. I mean, let's be real. He doesn't have to get all of those countries done. It's impossible by Friday. But if you get a deal done with, say, Japan and South Korea on paper, and you have announcements by Friday, the market, before the market closes on Friday, it's going to skyrocket. And it would skyrocket that following Monday, too. The futures would be insane. But the biggest thing here is also, I like that she's putting the deregulation stuff on with tax cuts. Because at this point, just looking at all of the BS delays in the House and the Senate on Congressional Review Acts, and, different legislation like the Transportation Freedom Act, Stop CARB Act, yada, 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 right? Tying that to the tax cut, which they're going to get done, is not a bad idea because then they have to vote on it. They got to get it done. And I agree with her. It's got to be done by Friday. You can't leave this thing sitting out over the Easter break and then you're going to come back and it's not going to happen. You got to do it now. Do it now. Stop playing games. Get it done. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Do you agree with Maria's sentiments? And what do you think? Do you think we get the emissions bills tied in with maybe tax cuts and budget reconciliation? I'd love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.